Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this free masterclass called Decode Your Human Design. My name is Matus Hanidziar, and today we are talking, and the topic of this masterclass is how to make every life and business decision with total confidence, without second guessing, analysis paralysis, or generic personality tests. I've got a couple of slides prepared for you, and so let us jump into it. Before we start, let me just mention a couple of things before we start this free masterclass. Number one, if you have ever tried learning human design before and it didn't click, it is not your fault. There is a ton of conflicting advice out there, and most of it can leave you overwhelmed instead of aligned, and that stops now. And you are in a good place. The second thing that I want to talk about is if you have ever worried that maybe you are not just spiritual enough or don't get it, you can let it go as well, because you can absolutely live by your design. You just need someone to guide you through it clearly. Number three, what I can say is that most of the self-help world actually wants you chasing clarity with your head, ignoring wisdom of your body and wisdom of your design, because they profit when you are stuck. I don't. And so we will be talking about that, why it is important to be making decisions with your body, with your design, rather than anything else. Also, if you have ever felt that maybe typical coaching and mindset work barely scratch the surface, you're right, because often they don't reach the subconscious mind where your real patterns live. And that is why you might find yourself looping again and again and again and again. And I believe that you are here because you know that you are meant for more. I know that you are here because you know that you can get more alignment, more ease, more truth in how you live. And that is exactly what we are looking to unlock tonight. I welcome all the people that are already joining. Okon, Heather, pleasure to see you. I hope you can hear me and see me. Just give me a yes in the chat or just point the finger up. Okay, great. And let us speed run this whole experience. And then if there are, thank you very much. If there are any questions at the end, we will have space to answer questions towards the end. So let us begin. Now, who is this for? This is pretty much for everyone, right? If you have never heard about human design, if it's like, what is this? We will explain the basics. If you have some experience, if you dip your toes into it, we will talk about some improvements, some advanced stuff. And also, if you have multi-year experience, just like I do, just like my wife does, you will still come out of this expanded, because just like I talked yesterday with a very wise person, very wise woman, she said it is not only about the information that you know, but it's also about the way and about your specific experience with which you provide the experience that is important. And so if you are here, you've got something to look forward to. So let's go into goals. There are two goals for today. Number one, the only way for you to make any decision, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationship, in your personal life, fast and reliably, is by living your unique human design. And the only way to do that is by rewiring your subconscious mind. And I will talk about why this is important. So who am I, or who are we? Because I'm here on account of two people, not just me, but also my wife. I call it HDHD. It's not really, don't mistake it with ADHD. HDHD as in Human Design Hypnoduo. We are both hypnotherapists. We are both NLP practitioners for more than 7 years now. And we both are very much into human design in the last 2 years or more, and together for 18 years. So we are a couple, we are married, and we have started this whole self-healing, self-improvement path and journey 7 years ago, just as you can see. But then human design somehow came into our life because of something that happened. And what happened? Let me just tell you a story. So what got us here? Actually, not what, but who? It was Mia. my daughter, who is now 6 years old. When she was born, what happened is that I started to, out of nowhere, experience anger issues, quite intense anger issues that I never experienced before. And both me and my wife were struggling with her decision making. When she was making decisions, it took her forever to decide, and often she would say something, and then she did something else, or she decided for something, and then afterwards she changed the decision. And for us, it was very confusing. And so my wife and I were looking for Holy Grail, for some understanding, for some map to help us understand what is happening and how we can navigate this whole new chapter of our life. And I can tell you that human design was the thing that made us understand not only ourselves, but also her, because we realized that she is a different energy type. She has a different decision-making authority, and therefore her decisions follow a different path than what it was for me and what it was for my wife. And I believe that the first step in change, in effective change, is awareness. And I believe that it is just the first step. But if you don't have awareness, it's hard to change, and you can be struggling, and you can be thinking that it's your issue, when in fact it might be just your misunderstanding of what is happening. And so human design was the map, was the layout, was the tool that brought this awareness that, and as we put it on top of our situation, we suddenly understood how this all fit together. And so that's why we started to apply it not only in our personal lives, but I also started to apply it in with my clients that I had one-on-one and in group setup. And it improved our results dramatically. And I will talk about a couple of examples down the line. So, but let me just first say this thing, human design. Human design is this combination of multiple disciplines, and one of those disciplines is astrology. And so when I heard about human design for the first time, I was like, nah, I don't wanna do any of that. I don't believe in these planetary things and planetary objects. But the question that I have here, don't you just hate it when someone knows it first before you? Like when they not only know it, but they pinpoint it to you before you know it. It was my wife. My wife has been this person for me for the last 18 years, that she usually knows things far before me. And often I struggle to accept it. And it was the same thing with human design. So 2.5 years ago, she came with this thing called human design. And she's like, hey, look, this explains quite a lot of things. And I'm like, no, it's BS. I don't believe in this astrology. But she was like, but look, it explains there is a chart, there is a reading, and you can look at it, and you are this type, and Mia is this type, and I'm this type, and it explains a lot. I was like, no, this is not for me. But I always believe that that my wife is sort of like a mentor for me. But in 2023, it wasn't enough for me to have one mentor. It actually needed to come from 3 different places for me to understand it, to accept it, and for it to click in place, right? I was looking for a mentor in 2023, for somebody that I can work with, who can accelerate me and my progress. And I was talking to 2 people that I highly respected: business coaches, business mentors, hypnotists, people with much more experience than I did. And I had the first call with them, right? The first call to talk about who I am, what I want, and so on. And both of them independently asked me, so what is your human design? And I was like, no way. It is even you asking. And they made it seem that it was strange for me not to know. It was strange, it was unexpected that I wouldn't know. And it is not only the buzzword, and even 2 years ago, it was not only the buzzword, the human design, but it was already tool that has been used in many different areas, including the mentorship, including the business coaching, and so on. So that is when I was second to know it in our family. And I hated it but I started to look into it, and I'm glad that I did, because, like I said, it saved not only our family, but I believe that everything that came after. So why do I help people to decode human design? Why do I help people? Why do I bring it into my work with others? It's simple. If you are a person who is interacting with others, right? I believe that everyone is. If you are trying to start a business or run a business, if you are struggling to make a lasting change, or if you are wondering what you are here to do, living your design is the way to go. And decoding for me not only means for you to understand it, but decoding for me means that you are embodying and you are living it. Because many things that we read or we understand about ourselves, we forget. But the things that you embody, the things that you have deep in your body, that you live every single day, are the things that stay with you. And that's why I believe more in decoding and rewiring and taking human design understandings and putting them deep into the body, rather than just reading or understanding it in the first place. And so let's talk about 3 secrets. We will talk about 3 secrets today. Number one, the secret number one is how to use your strategy and your self-theme as a reliable operating system, not a horoscope. Number two, how to use your authority as a built-in GPS. You can use any day, anytime, under 60 seconds or less. And secret number three is how to rewire your subconscious mind as a way to live your authentic design effortlessly, without falling back into the old patterns, without the repeating of the loops, without the thing that happens to every single one of us here and there. And so let us start with the secret number one. I'm just going to turn off the aircon. Let us go. So secret number one, how to use your strategy and self-theme as a reliable operating system, not a horoscope. So let me tell you a story about what it is to live against your design. So in 2017, which is, wow, 8 years ago, I decided that I want to become a successful trader. I wanted to trade stocks or whatever comes, stocks, futures, commodities, whatever I could think of. And I really wanted to trade US equities. That was my idea. That was my initiation, and I was like, okay, let's do this. It came out of nowhere. It just came from my mind. It made sense, and I will talk about how things that make sense maybe are not for us. And so I decided to push myself into it. It was a good idea. I believed it was a good idea, and so I was trading every single day, actually every single night, and I was losing and losing and losing and losing. And over 9 months, I managed to lose about 40 grand. And I was consistently losing trader. And so then something happened. I went through a couple of experiences, and suddenly there was an offer coming from outside environment, offer to join a company that was trading on the floor, offer to join them and to trade for them, to split profit with them, but to use their tools. And I was like, let's do this. It felt good. I got really excited about it. Honestly, it was trading crypto. I didn't really know crypto. I didn't believe in crypto. I didn't think that it would amount to anything. And it didn't make sense to me, but I was excited. And so I went for it. What happened in the next year was that not only did I turn around my trading career, but actually I made quite a lot of money. It was the most successful year of my entire life. And so in 2017, I was swimming upstream against my design with something that made sense. In 2018, I went with something that I was excited about. And actually it didn't make sense at all, but it seemed to have worked much, much, much better. And what I'm talking about here is something that is called the strategy. And so based on human design, there are 5 energy types: manifestor, generator, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector. And I am, based on human design, I am a generator. And so if you look at the generator, there is a strategy that is called wait to respond. What it means is that human design shows you in a specific, there is a specific strategy for every single person how to move energy in the world. And there is just one type of a person that is called manifester, who are here to act, who are here to think of something and then go. But generators, for them, it doesn't really work like that. And they are here to wait until they get something from the environment to respond to. And the thing is that it is not enough to know your strategy. You know that there is a strategy for manifestors: inform before acting. For generators, wait to respond. For manifesting generators, if you are a manifesting generator, you first inform and then you wait for environment. It's like the combination of the first two, then you wait to respond. Then projector, you wait for invitation, and reflector, which is the rarest type, wait a lunar cycle. But it is not enough to know your strategy. It's important to go with the feeling, with the self-theme and not self-theme. And let me just use my example as a generator. For me, the self-theme is satisfaction. And satisfaction is the feeling that I get when I follow my design, when I flow with stream and not against it. What happens if I flow against it is that frustration arises. When you look at these self-themes and not self-themes, you can see how there are different emotions. For manifestor, it's peace versus anger, generator satisfaction and frustration. Manifesting generator is like this combination. Once again, projector success versus bitterness, reflector surprise versus disappointment. Now, your strategy and your self-theme are your operating software. This is the way how you are here designed to operate in the world. And if you follow it, if you follow your operating software, if you follow this alignment, you are mostly navigating your life in the self-theme, in peace, satisfaction, success, surprise. If you swim against the stream, you experience the opposite. And these are almost like indications letting you know how you are navigating. And so let me just give you a couple of examples. I'm going to show you charts, what it looks like, and our personal charts for our family members, because we've got 4 different types out of 5. So me, this is my chart. I'm a generator. And as you can see, my strategy is wait for an opportunity to respond. And not self is frustration, as we were talking about. My wife, my daughter is a manifester. And so for her, the strategy, once again, is written here: inform about your intentions. For her, it's all about, she thinks of something, she informs us, and she goes. She doesn't wait for opportunity to respond. She doesn't wait. And if she does wait, what happens is that she can get quite angry, because that is the feeling of anger, not self-theme. Then there is combination, my wife, manifesting generator, where is again informing and waiting for opportunity to respond, and the frustration with a little bit of anger, almost like an impatience. And then there is my son, who was born only 4 months ago, and he is a projector. And for him, it's waiting for an invitation. And if he's not moving with his design, it's all about being bitter for not recognizing his merits. We don't have reflector. It is a rare type, and so these people are here to wait a lunar cycle. If we get the chart of a reflector in our hands, we'll definitely pin it for the next time. But for now, reflectors are not there. But what is really important to understand here is quite simple. Your strategy is your operating software. So your strategy, your self-theme and your not self-theme are here to help you navigate your life reliably and repeatedly. And when you use it, life flows. Life works for you. If you don't use it, you will know by the feelings that you will experience. Secret number 1. Secret number 2, how to use your authority as your own built-in GPS in under 60 seconds and wherever you are. So what is authority? Let me just give you an example, again, from my own experience, how to make decisions on hard mode, right? In 2021, We were living in Spain, and I had an idea. Again, one of those good ideas that made a lot of sense. I had an idea that I would like to experience living in South America, somewhere in a cheap country, because I was looking into saving some money. And so I was looking online and finding out online what are the cheapest countries in South America, and I found out that Colombia is one of those. And so I put together pros and cons list, as you do, and I was going with what made sense to me. And what happened after in 2021 was that this trip not only didn't work for us, but it was a trip that was actually quite traumatizing for all the members, not because of Colombia itself, but because of the combination of us being in Colombia at just that time. I decided with logic. I did all the good stuff that is being told out there. I did pros and cons list. I went with what made sense. However, I didn't use my authority. And if I did, I believe I would not end up in Colombia. Good learning experience. Hopefully you don't have to have it for yourself. And so what is authority? There are actually 7 authorities in human design. And authority is your mechanism, is your internal GPS for making decisions. That is how you are supposed to make decisions. Now, what is really important is that there is a very small amount of population that is supposed to make decision with something that we can call mind. But overall, we are all supposed to make decisions with our bodies instead of our mind. And so I will be talking about 3 most prevalent decision-making authorities. Number 1 is emotional authority. Number 2 is sacral authority. And number 3 will be self-projected authority. As you can see, I skipped a couple of them, but these are 3 that we have in our family. And it's a great experience for me to experience them differently. So let me just talk about emotional authority for a little bit. But okay, let me talk about sacral authority. Sacral authority, and I'm just going to go back. Sacral authority is when you are trusting your gut. Have you ever heard about the expression "trust your gut"? If you did, just give me a thumbs up or put a yes in chat. Right? If you ever heard about expression "trust your gut," right? Now, it might be here. I can see some thumbs up. Yes. It might be good piece of advice for you, but actually it might not be such a good piece of advice. And what you got to understand is that many things that you learn online are focused on majority. But if majority doesn't mean that it's all for all people. And let me just say one thing, and that is more than 50% of population are emotional. That is, they have emotional authority. In other words, for them, just trust your gut doesn't work. And if they try to go with trust your gut, the gut is saying nothing, or gut is saying something right now, and then in a couple of minutes, is saying something else. It's like, what the heck? What am I doing here, right? Trusting your gut makes them go actually quite the opposite. And they are swimming upstream, and they experience all the negative feelings, all the non-self theme. Because trusting your gut works for people who are sacral, just like me, just like my wife. And who it doesn't work for is people who are emotional. That is, for example, my daughter. And there you can see how we actually understand or start to understand why her decision-making process is different than ours. So what I didn't do when I was moving into Colombia was I didn't have anybody ask me simple yes or no question. I didn't know about human design back then. And but if I did, what I would have anyone to do is to just ask me question to which I can say yes or no. Not multi-choice, not multi-option, just yes or no, because sacral authority knows. In the moment when you are put in front of the decision, you know immediately. You know it from your gut. You have this feeling, and it's almost like this or You don't even have to say yes or no, but you just know, you can feel it. It's in your gut. But it doesn't work for emotional authority. Emotional authority, just like, for example, my daughter, she flows through emotional waves. So whenever you are presented, if you have emotional authority, and if you are presented with a decision, it might seem like the best decision in the entire world ever since the sliced bread was invented. But in a couple of moments, it might seem like the complete BS. And it's like, how could I ever thought about even considering it? And now being pushed into making snap decision by people who are sacral can lead to quite a lot of anger, quite a lot of disappointment and frustration on your part, because you are pushed against your design. And there are many people out there who are like, how come you are so indecisive? They are not indecisive. They have just different authority. The third authority that I want to mention, and once again, just understand that there are different authorities and it's very important to understand your specific, is self-projected. Now, self-projected is for my son. We will experience this one soon. And self-projected authority is for him, and this one is quite interesting because for him to make a decision, he needs to talk about it with others, not for the sake of hearing their opinion, but for the sake of hearing himself. And then as he hears himself, as he speaks, suddenly the clarity comes. And so again, it doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the feeling that he has towards the words that he's saying. Different experiences, different authorities, and the important thing is to use the authority that is yours. Now, experiences. Let me just share 3 experiences that I had with people, with clients. When I discovered, and obviously there are many more, but these are just the 3 examples. When I discovered a human design, and when finally 3 people in a short succession told me, okay, actually you want to look into that, I decided, okay, let's implement it into my coaching, into my hypnotherapy practices. And I had a client who was, when we started, he was losing quite a lot of money as a trader, and he wanted to not only start making money, but also had different goals, personal goals, and also relationship goals. What we did with him, because we discovered that he's a sacral being, just like I was, we decided that we would scrap every plan that he had. All the plans that we did, all the things that we thought of, all the things that made sense to us when we put them together in place, we decided for the upcoming couple of weeks that we work together to scrap them, to decide, okay, we are not doing anything that is pre-scheduled. I told him, I want you, Derek, to wake up and go with what feels best for you. Go with what draws you most. Go with what fills your cup. Go with something that you are excited. If it's that you want to sleep more, you sleep more. If it's you want to exercise more, you exercise more. If it's we want to trade more, you trade more. If it's you want to run or you go and socialize, you do that. What happened to him was that he very quickly not only reached higher satisfaction in entire life in all areas, but also better results, just because he was following his gut. Before, he was following what made sense. You remember the Colombia experience? Oof, right? After, he started to follow his gut, just a yes and no in the moment, not what we thought about. What is very important here to also mention, sometimes we make plans day before, right? Like at the end of the day, I decide tomorrow it would be great for me if I did this one and this one and this one and this one. I make a plan and then I follow it through. Now, often we follow it through even if we don't get this yes or no, or if we don't get this yes. And what happens for sacral beings is that they follow it through with frustration, especially generators. They wake up and they're like, I'm just going, right? I'm just gonna do it. Doesn't always work. And what you are here to do is to move the biggest amount of energy, not the biggest amount of ticks on your to-do list, right? And so following your gut for sacral beings is one of the best things you can do. The second example, emotional authority, was my friend and client, Anna, who has been raised ever since she was little, believing that she just can't decide, because both of her parents, we found out, were sacral beings. And so she just can't decide. She doesn't know how to make decisions. So she always had this pressure to quickly decide. And often she ended up with making the wrong decision because the emotional weight. As soon as she realized, as soon as she understood that her authority is emotional, it took a pressure off of her shoulders by not having to decide when others did, by not having to do the snap decision, by not having to go with the gut and just giving herself time. What I find, and this is just a caveat here, what I find is that emotional authority seems to be often much more precise than other authorities. You just need to give yourself that extra time. And what is the rush anyway? The third person that I want to talk about is Diana, and she's self-projected. And when we discovered that she was self-projected, I was like, whoa, the first person that I know of that is self-projected in person. I was excited, and we started looking into it. She got this big aha moment when she finally understood that when she speaks to others, it is not about their opinions, but about hearing herself and then making sense of what she's hearing from her own mouth rather than from the opinions of others, right? So just to wrap it up, secret number 2, your authority is your GPS. Your authority is your own built-in GPS you can use wherever you are. You should. You are better. You'd better use it wherever you are. But first, you must know it. If you don't know it, it's hard to use it. The third secret that I want to talk about is how to rewire your subconscious mind as a way to live your authentic design effortlessly without falling back into the old patterns. Now, what is the best thing that I believe human design brings into the world? Is that human design explains elegantly something that is called conditioning. Conditioning is the experience that we all experience based on the people that we surround ourselves in. And I have these 2 pictures just to illustrate that if you come from a specific family, you have been conditioned in a specific way. But how you were specifically conditioned? Well, I don't want to go too much into the details, but let me just say this thing. If you have two adults, let's say you have 2 parents who are sacral beings, just like I am and my wife is, or Anna's parents who are sacral beings, and they make snap decisions. They make decisions with their gut. And you are born into this family and you are emotional being. What can happen, and what often happens, is that there is not enough awareness from the parents that they don't even know that there is some kind of difference. And what happens is that the child is being pushed into making decisions how parents are making decisions. And so it's being conditioned to use a different authority, to speak human design terms, it's conditioned to use different authority than it's natural for them, right? Or you can be conditioned into experiencing emotions of others and believing that they are yours. And this is my experience. Let me just tell you about 2 experiences. So I am not an emotional being. Because I am a sacral being, I can experience yes or no very quickly. But emotions that I experience are often, if not always, coming from external environment. Either I need to be watching something or thinking about something, my mind needs to bring something, or often it happens that it comes from the people around me. And for the first 3 decades of my life, I have been carrying shame with me as a badge of honor, right? I was carrying shame wherever I went. It was something that I always had with me until human design explained to me that I'm not an emotional being, and the emotions that I feel are emotions of others that I generate more of them. Because as a generator, I generate more of them. I don't have emotional center on, and so whenever I am with somebody who has it on, like for example my daughter or for example my mother, I get to experience their emotion and amplify the emotion. And so human design helped me realize that the shame that I have been carrying has never been mine. And it was always somebody else's. And many times people come to me and say, oh, I need to deal with this emotion of mine. And it's been with me ever since I remember. And that's when this awareness comes and we realize, oh, you are not an emotional being. So that is, okay, where is this emotion coming from? And they're like, I know exactly, it is this person. So ever since I remember is actually translated into ever since I have been in touch with this person. Because the same thing happens for any kind of emotion, but nobody is coming to solve their joy problems, right? I experience too much joy when I'm with this person. I experience too much joy, too much happiness, or too much gratitude. I need to do something with it. Nobody really considers that one as a problem, of course. But when it's a negative emotion, this can happen. And you are here, if you are not an emotional being, you get to experience, it's a gift, and also not so much sometimes, you get to experience the emotions of others. And so my shame came from somebody else, my anger, and I explained it at the beginning, my anger that came after my daughter was born is actually something that I amplify in her and from her. So her not self-team as a manifester is getting angry when she doesn't get her way. And because I'm standing next to her, I get to experience it. And suddenly I am angry out of nowhere. And it's not out of nowhere, it's out of this little bundle of emotions that is running here around. And so human design explains it wonderfully, how you are being conditioned. And it is not just by your parents. You are being conditioned by every single person that you encounter. You are being conditioned right now. Because I have a different gates, different energy centers activated, maybe that you don't. And just because we are here connected, you are being conditioned in the way that I provide this information. And as soon as you step out of this, you suddenly start to experience a little bit more of yourself until somebody else comes, and then you get to taste them. And so the best thing about human design is that it explains conditioning in a specific measurable terms, which is amazing. But there are other things. There are motivations. So every single one of us has aligned motivation and shadow motivation, and there is actually 6 types of motivations. One is fear, the second is need, the third hope, then there is guilt, innocence, and desire. Every single one of these can be aligned or it can be shadow, depending on who you are. Just to give you an example, my aligned motivation is hope, and my shadow motivation is guilt. But I have worked with many clients who have the opposite. So their aligned motivation is guilt and their shadow is hope. For me, whenever there is an idea and something that comes from the environment and I feel hopeful about it, that's a great motivation. Let's go with it. But if the person whose shadow motivation is hope, when they feel hopeful about something, it's actually the worst thing that they can be doing. The same goes for fear and need and the innocence and desire. I have my daughter, her true motivation, aligned motivation is innocence, and shadow is desire. But I have worked with clients who have the opposite. And for my wife, the aligned motivation is fear, and shadow is need. And again, there can be opposite. So it's very important to know your true motivation, because what happens is that you get to obviously you get to experience all 6 of them, but you often navigate your life on this equilibrium between these 2. So if your, for example, aligned motivation is hope, then you get to experience most hope and guilt compared to others. But it's important to know which one works for you, right? So human design explains quite a lot about motivation. Human design explains quite a lot about your body. And that is, what is the best way how you digest, and not only the food, but also any experiences. But mostly this comes down to food. So there are actually 6 different types of diet, and each type has 2 variations. So there's 12 different types. For example, for me, my type of diet is hot thirst, meaning that that all my food should be above the body temperature, which I was really surprised to discover. But ever since I implemented mostly hot meals, my diet, my digestion, everything improved ever since, right? And this comes for anything and everything. For example, my daughter, she has selective appetite, which means that she's here to eat just one thing at a time, right? Even on her plate, ideally it is separated, because if you don't separate it, if you mix ingredients, she will just pick one ingredient and then the second and the third. Imagine the parent, just like I was, who doesn't know this, and who's like, hey, just eat the whole freaking thing like everybody else, right? that's conditioning person away from their true design, right? So human design tells you about the body. Human design tells you about mind. And that is what is the environment that is most conducive for you? That is where you function the best, where you can go and recharge yourself. Is it caves? Is it markets? Is it kitchens? Is it mountains? Is it valleys? Is it shores? What type of these? Again, there are 12 different environments. And imagine how challenging it can get if your son has caves, if your daughter has markets, if you yourself has kitchens, and if your wife has mountains, how you navigate this one, and mostly how you can make it for every single one of you so they get their aligned environment at least every couple of days or every week so they can go and recharge, right? Knowing this is a crucial piece of knowledge. So human design talks about this one. Human design talks about your purpose. What is it that you are here to do? And it is talking about how you are here to do it and what is standing in the way. There is something that is called incarnation cross. There is something that is called profile lines and a specific way how to live. Every one of us has 2 profile lines. And there is something that is called the genetic wound. That is what is mostly in the way of you getting to your purpose. Guess what my genetic wound was? Well, you can see number 3, it's shame. And it still is. It is kind of pre-programmed. It is designed into me, but there is human design is providing not only the information about what it is, but how to go about it, how to overcome it. What else? This is all human design provides. What else? More than you would think. More than you would think. Let me just stop here and say more than you would think. Human design brings so much information that it sometimes feels literally like this guy is doing with the freaking fire hose. It just seems so overwhelming. And usually what happens is that people can decide, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go into it. I'm just gonna put the uniform. I'm just gonna become this fireman. I'm gonna go into it. But where does that leave you, really, with the human design? It's usually that you've got 2 options, right? When I found out about human design and about the vast information that it brings, first decision for me was to give up. I was like, no, this is just too much, right? And many people do that because they just realize how much there is, and they say, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do this. The second option is that you go all in, just like my wife went in for last 2 years. She's been studying all that came, and I believe, at least for me, she's the biggest expert that I know. But all in all, the same cost is involved, and that is the cost that is involved is time. Because if you decide to not follow it, not look into it, you will have to pay by time, by the failed repetitions, by the mistakes that you keep repeating, by the loops and cycles that you could have avoided. If you decide to go all in and to try to use just your conscious mind to remember, to understand, it will take a lot of time. So now, why we are having this free masterclass is quite simple. And that is the worst thing I believe about human design is that human design struggles with something that is called deconditioning. If you go online, if you try to find out what is deconditioning is actually taking away all the external influences of all the other people from the years and years of influences and trying to clear these influences from your design so you are functioning aligned and authentic design of you. And usually people out there provide estimate about 7 years. So ever since you discover your human design and you go on the path, it will take you apparently about 7 years to get there. I believe that this is because most of these experts rely just on conscious mind, just on, okay, this is the chart, this is me reading it, this is me repeating it, maybe some affirmations, maybe some rereading it, maybe some, oh, I made a mistake, let's look at it again. So just using conscious mind, just using what I learned, and that goes very, very slowly. That's why I believe that there is another way, and this is the way that we have been working with my wife for the last 1.5 years, really, and that is something that we call hypnotic integration, where you blend together conscious understanding of your design with guided expert reading of everything that you can need for your design, plus subconscious rewiring using hypnosis and techniques working with subconscious mind to integrate all that you are learning consciously into your subconscious mind. That accelerates your deconditioning, that accelerates your integration, that accelerates your alignment with your human design. And for that purpose, I put together two options for reading and integration. Now, the first option is quite simple, and that is reading of human design. And what this is and what how this actually works is quite simple. This is done by my wife, and since she's taking care of our son, it is not immediate how it normally would be, but it is done in the 72 hours after we received the birth data. So how this works is quite simple. Person can come and say, hey, this is my birth data. I was born here and at the time, and this is the date. And as soon as we receive birth data, the person receives full PDF in a complete HD reading about them, or about their spouse, or about their child, or about anyone they are wanting to understand more. Because I believe it's very important to not only understand myself, but also other people. Now, the second option is to receive this thing, but also plus one-on-one hypnotic integration, which is a 60-minute session with me, where you receive the full PDF, but also 60-minute subconscious rewiring, where we take the most important parts of your design and where we implement them into your subconscious using hypnotic suggestions. And afterwards, you will receive the recording with it, so you can repeat and re-listen once again. What happens is that you not only have the reading for you, but you also have the recording that brings all of this deeper into your subconscious mind. But it wouldn't be masterclass if there was no extra thing. And so let's talk about the extra thing. There is an extra offer that is valid for the next 72 hours, and it's offer where we offer 25% off of these prices. So the reading for one person comes down to 75 euros, and one-on-one integration with the reading comes down to 150 euros per session and per reading for the next 72 hours. This offer will go down and back to the regular price on Sunday at let's call it 8 p.m. Central European time. So you can now, what I will do is I'm going to plug the two links for both of these offers in the chat. And let me just say that I'm gonna invite all the participants to unmute themselves if they feel like want to ask any questions. I would like to ask you to provide me with any questions that you have. Just give me a second. I will plug the links. So this is the option number one into the chat, and option number two is for one-on-one reading in the chat. Okay, so they are in the chat, and now if there are any questions, I'm going to leave it open for the next 8 minutes or so, and happy to answer any questions. You can post them in the chat, or you can ask here. You can unmute yourself. Any questions, just go for it.
Okay, so hi, that's awesome. I know a little bit about this, and didn't the guy that built the Gene Keys, wasn't he a big human design guy?
Yes, yes, indeed.
That's pretty amazing stuff too, right? So I'm a manifesting generator.
I would assume that. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, of course. Because you are moving really fast. You are moving really fast, and you've got a lot of things happening at the same time. So it's like either you are living outside your alignment, or you are a money gen, just like my wife is. It's like we do this one. You are literally like this person who is brushing their teeth and combing their hair at the same time, and you know, like preparing food. And it's like multitasking is for you.
Yeah.
Not for anybody else.
I can get a lot done. So and I do have always really moved from my gut. I feel a lot in my gut. I'm very sensitive to that. In fact, when we were doing it, I can definitely tell like I get frustrated, and that comes out a lot in building online because it's not intuitive to me.
Mm,
And but one of the most common criticisms of the men I've dated is, I've been single for 15 years, dating on and off, right? I've
right,
had 3 relationships that have lasted for 2 years. And I'm just very particular, and I'm also, I don't know if this particular chart or personality profiling thing is specific to me attracting narcissists, but that's what I've discovered with 2 of the men I dated and then my ex-husband.
mm,
Um, but my criticism from them is that I'm too direct. So it's interesting because I think that if my personality was a man, I wouldn't be, that would not even be a word out of their mouth. So I have this masculine energy. I'm the oldest of 11 in a blended family. I have 5 brothers. I'd much rather hang out with my brothers and uncles and dad at the cabin than I would with the women who are gossiping and talking and having coffee for 5 hours. I want to be playing and doing stuff. So I don't know. What's your take on that? Like,
sure,
I hear the feedback and I get it. I know it. I admit it. I'm like, and I ask people, I'm like, listen, I don't think you are interested in me if you're sensitive. None of them are sensitive. They all say they're not sensitive. And then when we end up not working out, they're like, I guess I'm sensitive.
right. So there are a couple of things that I would say. Number one, I really, ever since I discovered human design and the potency that it has, uh, I often, when I get to work with somebody, the first question is like, give me your birth data. Not because I really need it, but just really want to look into your chart and understand. And often, as soon as I see the chart, I'm like, okay, now I understand you as a person. There are 3 things that came to mind as you were talking. Number one, I would definitely be looking into your incarnation cross. That is, what is the purpose here to do? And like, in other words, many times we understand purpose as the thing that is the what we are here to do, whereas human design is talking about how, right? In other words, the what is secondary. It's all about how you move energy. So I would be looking into that one, and really, really, the number one thing would be there. The second thing that I would be looking at is your genetic wound. Like I said, for me, it was shame, but maybe for you, it seems like it might be something else. And not only genetic wound, because understanding of your genetic wound is nice to have. It's almost, sometimes it feels to me, it's almost like talk therapy, where you, yeah, I don't wanna like pile down on talk therapy, but sometimes it feels like, okay, you understand your pattern, you understand the source of the pattern, and that's it. You go home, you've got you've got no papers, you've got many papers, but it doesn't change stuff, right? So genetic wound is one thing, but how to operate around it, and what is the challenge there? And in other words, let's say, for example, somebody who is navigating their lives with genetic shame, all they need to do is to stop taking themselves and life so seriously. And actually, that made for me easy to unlearn shame. And so I don't do shame, I don't do embarrassment. Yes, if I do even something that people would consider embarrassing, I just laugh at myself. It's not even, I don't have it, right? And so this is possible for anyone, but it doesn't come just with awareness. It doesn't come just you going, discovering your chart and asking ChatGPT what it thinks. It's really important to make the shift inside. The third thing, as you were talking, I would be really looking into your profile lines, and that is, what is the conscious and subconscious. And I really believe that, I don't know why, but it feels like your subconscious line might be 5, like profile line is 5. And so you would not be aware of it, because the thing is that half of your profile in human design is conscious, and half of your profile is unconscious. So there are many things that you know that you do, and many things that you don't know that you do. But if you had let's say, if you had a video of you watching yourself, you would be like, how come I don't even know that this is what I do, this is what I say, this is how I come across, right? But human design can say it, and can show you, oh, this is your the other part. And this is why people see you in specific light and you don't see yourself, because you are unconscious of it, which is not a problem, but you can become conscious of it just by looking at your chart, if that makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
so I would say that if there are more than one person saying something, then I would maybe look into that. But again, this all comes down to how your chart or how your design is, and how much of what is unconscious can you become conscious of, and then make the shift in your it's almost like I don't want to overcomplicate this one, but it's like this. What you are conscious of, you are conscious of. That's pretty much okay, right? But what you are unconscious of, it's very important to bring it up, just like our friend Carl Jung would say, when the unconscious become conscious, we can stop calling it fate. But as soon as you make it conscious, it's not enough to just. It's literally like you take a flashlight and you light at it, and it's like, oh, I see you. But then you turn off the flashlight and you continue with something, and it becomes unconscious again. It's very important to bring it up and then make changes whilst you are shining the light on it. So either you accept it as it is and be like, okay, you know what, these people can't handle me, and it's fine, because I'm probably supposed to be working with or functioning or navigating my life with other people, or I can shift myself in this way so they are more okay, I don't know why this word, but so that I'm more palatable to these people. But if as soon as you need to become more palatable, maybe it's time to to change the chef and be like, you know what, I'm out of here. So
Well, right. It's like breaking habits that are habits that align with you. I mean, you can have that information, and then you can still tailor that that conscious awareness, right? And that obviously breaking a habit is something that we're unconscious of, and so it takes time and energy. And you'd have to want to do, you have to want to do the work. Like I was listening to a psychic, and she was talking, and she said that she talks with at a high level and a lot of very successful people that we would know, and they come to her all the time, and they don't do the work, and they repeat the patterns over and over and over again, and they don't really want to do the work. They just want the readings because it's comforting.
right.
So, for all of that, that's what I think I was talking about before, is now, it's hard to work with those people that, are not really they're not making steps to change, but maybe that's part of it too, is at least you're present and you're helping them out in some way. But so that's right. So bringing in that consciousness, and then once you see that consciousness and you're aware of it, and you want to make those changes, I think you can still tailor it somewhat within the range of that.
Good. When I hear this one, I don't know why, but and I might be wrong, but it feels like a rejection would be the wound.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I just based on what I know and based on what you said. But the thing is that there is a way, and if it's indeed rejection, then okay. I feel that for most of these genetic wounds, it's very important to literally reprogram in our subconscious what this thing represents. So in other words, for me, it was shame. And I was like, shame is like the worst thing that can happen to you. How, as soon as you experience this one, these are the kind of decisions that you made out of it, that you make out of it. So it's like, if shame happens, then this happens. And when I reprogrammed it, first of all, the shame stopped or lost the power over me. So I was like, if shame happens, then nothing happens. It's like nobody cares. Like it just fizzled out. But then what I did was I actually recreated or changed the frame of what shame is. And you were on the 6-week masterclass, so we were talking about it, that there are things that are cognitive concepts that don't really exist, right? There are no emotions. So it's like I feel so rejected. I feel so rejected. No, you don't feel rejected. There is no feeling rejected. You have conscious construct that is called rejection, and you feel something else, but you don't feel rejected. You constructed something that is called rejection, and from that you feel maybe sad, you feel fearful, you feel some real emotion, right? And so this is, again, as soon as we know the genetic wound, It's like, I've got you, and now we can reframe what it means subconsciously. And so when it happens, when it happens again, because of course it happens, it's a life, you know, we all experience different experiences. Suddenly you feel differently, and so it doesn't even occupy your body or your mind. Once again, coming back to the fact that I believe that emotions are timeless, and we make them timely by focusing on them and by creating this mental space like, oh, rejection, let's talk about it, or oh, shame, let's talk. No, you know, that happens, move on, right? And so, but again, we can be talking endlessly until it is done, like until there is a shift. Yes, there will be a recording. Until there is a shift in your subconscious mind, we can, you know, come back to it again and again, again, just like you said about these people who are like, oh, you know, I struggle with it again. Let's talk about it again, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, okay, well, that's helpful. I think that that sounds like that's rich, you know?
The thing is that you are talking from the, you know, human design hypnotic duo. You are talking with the Padawan. You know, there is a master who is somewhere with a little baby, but she's the one, when we received the birth data, she's the one putting together the report, and she's the one telling me this is important for this person, this is important, this is important. If they ask this, you tell them this one, and so on. I know quite a lot. I know quite a lot, but like I said, you know, like there is a person who is behind, who always knows it first, and I stopped being you know, being like hating it. Now I'm really accepting it, because I'm here. I'm sharing this with others, and I really feel like this is important, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's
I hope
great.
that answered. I don't hope that answered your question.
You did.
Okay, okay. If there are any others, I'm still keeping the chat open. Or if you think of anything, I see the will we get recording of the session? Yes, yes, you will. And so let me just say before we close, there are people, and I've been the person like that. If you are totally new to human design, it might be kind of outrageous to think that just by providing your birth time, birth date, birth time, and birthplace, suddenly somebody can tell you a lot about you, right? Suddenly they can tell you actually most of what you experience. But let me just assure you that I was one of the biggest skeptics. But as I started to implement it, not only for me but for my clients, and I was like, well, you as a person that, you know, have this design, probably experience something like that, and they would say, oh, how did you know? It's like I had it so many times where people were just dumbstruck by the depth of what we can derive from the chart, that it is now for me one of the most important tools that I'm leaning towards. And mostly, and that's the most important part, whenever I discover something new, whenever I discover something that I maybe haven't noticed, or maybe some new combination of factors that I haven't introduced into my system, I always use hypnotic integration, so it sticks, so it sticks, so it sticks. There will be one more step that my wife is working now on, and that is to make complete deconditioning, which will be maybe option number 3, where based on the design going forward, there will be complete deconditioning, which will be like maybe hour and a half, maybe 2-hour hypnotic session, where we will go through entire human design to the tiniest details. Now, when we are talking about the hypnotic session and hypnotic integration, we are talking about the base. That is, we were discussing this, that you are a table and there are these legs. We are talking about all the major legs. So then we can make them stable. But we are also working on the course, and the course will be released quite soon, but it will take some time. And the course will be more about you learning complete human design, that is becoming an expert in human design. This is not for you just to understanding yourself, but this is about you understanding the entire model and how it applies and how it intertwines within. Now, one last thing that I want to say is this. I believe the biggest benefit of human design, and honestly, data from internet proves it, that the biggest benefit of human design is making business decisions. So this is the biggest decision-making thing. So in order for you to make the best business decisions, aligned business decisions, it's important to go with your design, and human design provides this pretty much when you just look at the basics. The second thing is the relationships when it comes to romantic relationships and relationships to family members. In other words, as soon as you understand the complete chart, not just a little bit, but the complete chart and complete reading of the closest people around you, you suddenly understand, oh, this is their genetic wound. This is how they operate here. This is their purpose. This is their obstacle. And you suddenly can understand, and I feel this is very important, that it is not personalized. Just because you live next to them and you spend a lot of time with them, it doesn't mean that it concerns you as a person. Yes, it does because you experience it, but it is not about you. What I'm saying here, and this is like a proof of, if you get to meet a person, just like Hanidziar was saying, who is a narcissist or has a narcissistic traits, yes, you can sooner or later, and obviously with narcissists especially, you can sooner or later start to take it personally and be like, oh, there is something wrong with me. There is something that I need to change about myself. What if it's their design and it's being presented on you, how it will be presented on anyone, but your understanding of the design needs to come so you can see it and be like, oh, now I see it. Or what if it is your design as well, where is your genetic wound or your kind of obstacle that is being imprinted on you and you are here to resolve, and you are like, oh, this is why I'm drawn to this one. And what happens if you understand both of these, right? That's something, so that's why these two options, because again, I can scroll all the way to the beginning and I'm just gonna do it. So I was talking that I believe, and I still believe this, that the only way how you can make any decisions, business decisions, romantic decisions, family decisions, health decisions, fast and reliable is by living your human design, like your unique human design. And the only way to do it is by rewiring your subconscious mind. So what in the heck we are doing here with two options would be the question. Like, why is there just the reading option? Why is it not just the integration? Well, because the reading option is to understand people around you, right? So if you are considering something for yourself, the step would be obviously integration session. But if you have somebody around you are like, I would like to understand this person, that's the reading. That's the thing that where we receive the data, and we will give you complete chart where you can understand. Because honestly, the biggest shift in how human design saved our family life and how we are, like this is us right now, like maybe a couple of months ago, M&M and M&M, right? We are all M's. It's because we understood the charts. We understood the authority. We understood that there is a emotional being that we haven't had. Imagine that you have been living together for, she came in 2019, so let me do quick math. Okay, so 12 years. 12 years we are a happy couple, just happily navigating our life without any, major emotions, just, chilling, enjoying ourselves. And suddenly comes this person who already in the womb is activating something within my wife, and then is activating something within me, and suddenly there is this thing that is, we are dealing with some emotions, what the heck, then she's born and we are dealing with more emotions, what the heck, then this guy gets angry, what the heck is happening, and then it clicks, we suddenly understand, oh shoot, there's something called emotional authority, oh shoot, there is something called constant solar plexus on, meaning that she always has emotions, whereas me and my wife, until we meet somebody, until we do something that elicits emotions, we just chill, right? We just chill. And so this understanding, this thing, I think is very important. Like I said on the previous masterclasses, just gonna say it one more time. Having in one family two sacral beings, one emotional being, and one self-projected I don't know what this is going to be about this little guy here, like how is it going to work, but I'm curious to find out. Having all 6 profile lines, there's 6 profile lines, and having them all 6 in every direction, having different environments, having different dietary types, again, just confirms my belief that if there is a consciousness, if there is God, if there is some higher power, it is not the big bearded guy, but it's a small child that is really curious to see how this works out if we put these together and how they will go through these challenges. That's life. Life is here to challenge us so we can grow. And if you want to be happy, life is not here to make you happy. It is you who is here to make you happy. And so you can make yourself happy with more awareness, with taking more steps, with understanding more about yourself and about people around you. Because trust me, you will be challenged. And I believe that if you know that you will be challenged, it's good to have tools at your disposal. In words of Matthew McConaughey, I just want to close this and say, I heard him saying recently, he said, problems are something that is inevitable. You can't avoid it. And because it is inevitable and everybody experiences it, then it means that it is necessary. If something is inevitable, it means it is necessary. It is here, it must be here, and it is here for us to embrace it. And I believe that there will be problems, there will be challenges, there will be decisions to be made. And honestly, if I am to make decision, I just wish for me not to try make decisions with my mind, not to ask people around me what they think and then go with what makes sense, but to go with my gut. Why? Because I'm a sacred being, but I recommend you know who you are, and I recommend you make decisions with your authority. I bless you. I'm very much thankful. Heather, is there anything else you would like to ask?
No, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm considering it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Obviously, I will send an email afterwards, but the link is in the chat. You just, if you feel like it, just click it and check it out. And thanks a lot for being here. The recording and everything will be sent to you as soon as it's available. And this is us, this is me, and I will see you some other day. I'm just gonna stop sharing and I'm just gonna stop recording